Hello, everybody. Let me clear something up for you, okay? Because I've said this a couple of times, and I've had to go through negotiations with a couple of you. Your personal experience, first of all, is important. I'm not diminishing that. That said, this is a sociology class. You need to place your personal experience into a larger context. You begin with this assumption. I have an experience. I move through my life. I work. Maybe I have a family. I listen to music. I consume. I may participate in all sorts of activities, creative ones, occupational ones that create communities. So many of you have the right general idea about what a subculture is. Sociology, though, in this class makes a demand of you. How is my experience unique to my individual life? How is it similar to others and different than others? And how is my experience the same as every other human? This discipline, not psychology, this isn't a psychology class. This isn't a class about you writing deeply about your biography, although that's important as a starting off point, right? We live in the second part of this question. Yes, I have an individual experience. I've been a musician. Sometimes I get paid to do it. I've been a professional musician since I was 15 years old. I listen to music. I play music. I participate in musical communities. A lot of them. I'm a practicing Buddhist. Like Christianity, there are very different sects of Buddhism. And I practice a specific one. Again, both alone, I have a subjective individual experience of it, and in a community. I have a PhD in sociology. I teach college-level classes in the prison system in the state of Ohio. I'm also in recovery. I'm allergic to alcohol. I break out in handcuffs. What makes these unique to me is I have a set of different experiences associated with each of these identities, and they play out in a context that seems like it is unique to me, okay? But this experience, my experience alone, doesn't make me an authority on how these different contexts of my life play out in similar patterns. Not only across the city, the state, my neighborhood, the region I live, but in similar contexts across the entire planet. Social analysis demands that I go beyond my personal experience and put myself into a larger context. Here is an example, right? Okay, I'm not a great manager of personal finances. How many other Americans are in the same situation? I could go on and on about my personal experience. You really don't want to hear it, right? Millions. And I'll have a link for you here that I'll provide, right? Social analysis demands that I go beyond my personal experience and put myself in a larger context. Okay? There are also other reports, however, in addition to this one that I looked at, from other reliable data sources that indicate subjectively that most people think they're doing okay. It's my task if I want to do a sociological analysis, and that is what you are responsible for here of my situation. Not an account of my feelings, how that's made me not like politicians or something like that, or what have you. I have to place myself in a larger context. How do you do this? You look for reputable sources. For starters, at the end of your initial post of these discussions, the textbook chapter that we're reading is just fine. But you cannot tell me, I just know this stuff. No, you don't. You read it somewhere. Okay, you read it somewhere, you experienced it. You have a language associated with whatever your experiences are. I don't either. Okay? Okay? So, your textbooks, no analysis that I do or that you do is unique. No experience is truly that unique. There are probably millions of other people experiencing this. I think some of you, and If this is not you, then please ignore it and go continue to do your work you're doing. But some of you seem to be writing and answering prompts for discussions as if they were free writing exercises. They are not. You're supposed to do an analysis based on your reading. And that means, at the very least, the textbook chapter or some analogy right to it. Okay? You were to place whatever you're writing about in a larger social context, other than just your stopping with your biography, how it made you feel, how it was a great time, right? Okay? You place this in a larger social context by referencing some research that has studied your situation. Otherwise, it's just, a free writing exercise. I do free writing. I do therapeutic writing for myself. That's all wonderful. But that's not what we're doing here. Okay? Just to be clear. Now, where do you go? And some of you got an email from me, but some of you did do good work. You just need to know this. Okay? So I'm on your site. Let's look at my. I want to view it just like you do as a student. Okay. So this is how you see this site, right? And I'm viewing it just as you would, right? You go here to this link marked Shapiro Library, citing your sources guide, okay? And click down here and it says APA style guide. That's the style we're using, APA, okay? And it will tell you. Basically, you have access to this. Once you get the content, once you get a citation, even if it's your textbook, you can reuse it. It's not plagiarism to reuse your own citation format, but use the correct citation format, right? And use it every time you submit an initial post in a discussion assignment, a worksheet, or or in particularly your milestones in your final paper. Okay, that this is not negotiable. I'm not going to explain again why you have to do this. Okay, I've explained this. So if you don't do this, the consequences are you're going to start to get you'll get a 0 on that part of the where it says references. There's actually a rubric. If you please go in and you look at these rubrics here, we go back to the home page of the class, right? And we go to course menu, and we go to learning modules, or we go to the home page of the class here, and we go start here, right? They have some syllabus and a turn it in guide, but what you have down here is assignment information. Okay, see the discussion rubric. Let me show you the discussion rubric. Okay. While it doesn't say it, it is a requirement. Okay, that you use language that promotes a thorough understanding. So don't do the minimum amount and then come and negotiate with me, right? You are to put a reference, okay, at the end of just your initial post, okay? When you do this, okay, and then that gets you, and all it has to be is your textbook. It doesn't, many of you went above and beyond, okay? So here's a worksheet guideline, okay? Here's module 1's worksheet guideline, right? Notice citations and attributions, okay? That is what we're talking about. That's why we do this. I'm okay. For example, right? I'm not going to belabor the point, but I am. Oh, mercy. Okay, stop with this. Okay, as somebody in recovery, right? There's a extensive literature that talks about well, there are classic pieces that talk about, I don't know, subcultures of marijuana users or drug users, and people in recovery as well. There's been extensive writing about that. There's writing about people who are drug dealers. That's a subculture, right? There's bodies of research for just about anything. You don't even have to go through the library website. You can go and do a Google Scholar search and just get an idea of what somebody else is saying about your particular situation. Okay? So please, I'm not gonna go on and on, but you must put a reference down here, or you won't get full writing credit, for these discussion posts, and also for every other kind of something. The only thing you don't need a reference on is if you're reading your classmates' work, certainly, right? And you're responding as you are supposed to do. Just again, a friendly reminder that you are supposed to respond to at least 2 of your classmates, or you get a 0 on that discussion, that part of the discussion assignment rubric. Why? This is a learning community. You're not just doing this individually. As Americans, we're used to thinking everything we do is unique and individual to us. Well, the fact is, there's a lot more, we have a lot more in common in terms of our subjective personal experiences than sometimes we think we do. Okay? So I hope this is useful for you. Please, moving forward, from Module 3 on, keep this in mind. I'm going to send this out as an announcement, and as an email attachment. Take the time to watch the videos that I prepare. They explain everything you have to do for the module. Do not go in and start answering stuff before you've read the work. It's fine to read it ahead of time. I recommend reading the module, reading the material, whatever the material is, and then responding. Okay? So if you do that, you're going to be bulletproof. Everybody's doing great work. It's been fascinating reading about these some of these subcultures. Okay, take care.